Hey everybody, just Jesse here, welcoming you back into my garage, my man cave, for another day of accountability. Today is Tuesday, October 13th, the year 2020, and I read through Proverbs chapter 27 today. Now, Proverbs chapter 27 has to deal with addition, basically adding to people. When people are esteemed, relationships become redeemed. Now, did you know that people tend to represent the asset of whatever they appreciate most? I know that I don't stop and think about that enough, but when you really stop and think about it, absolutely no resource or asset is more valuable than people. And I know not everyone's opinions on people really weigh out the way they should. I mean, after all, we're all created in the image of God, right? So moving forward, people skills represent the leader or the Christian's most important attribute. Wise leaders know to add value to an organization, they have to serve their people. Proverbs chapter 27 shows us some pretty remarkable fundamentals on relationships. It says if we just esteem people, we are able to redeem relationships. So, what principles can we as leaders and Christians learn from Proverbs chapter 27? Well, there's 7 here, and I'll go through them with you. The first one we can find in verse 1 and 2, and basically it just says don't brag. Leaders know how little they get from like self-promotion, from building themselves up. It isn't about building you up, it's about building others up. The second thing that we see is from verse 4, and it's not to envy. Leaders will actually sabotage themselves if their motive is to keep up with others. So if you're just doing things in order to keep up with the masses, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're envying whoever, whatever that you're seeking most, and your representation shows it. Thirdly, we see in verse 5 and 6, be forthright. Leaders don't fear confrontation, they speak truth in love. There's a lot of people in this world that are afraid to have that conversation where you have to be confrontational about people doing ungodly things, or just the wrong thing at work or whatever. We can't live in fear of confrontation, but we have to speak the truth in love, and we have to remember that every time we speak to somebody. The fourth thing we see is in verse 8, and it is not to forsake your roots. Leaders really understand the power of relational heritage. Just where you come from, not literally where you come from, but where your motives lie in your organization, who you belong to. Like for Christians, that you belong to Christ, that you're supposed to follow the teachings that are in the Word. And so we have to remember that we cannot forsake our roots, because our roots are what keep us grounded in the faith. So the fifth thing we see is in verse 9 and 10. The fifth thing is basically just to stay close. Leaders really work at maintaining relationships and meeting needs. And so that's the thing that if you want to become a leader, or if you are a leader already, you really need to maintain your relationships, make those things work. Don't just become standoffish and toxic to people. We really need to meet the needs of people around us. So that goes wholeheartedly without saying, for our whole community, for our families, everybody. The sixth thing we see is to add value, and that's in verse 17. Leaders sharpen those whom they come in contact, and it says that it's like iron sharpening iron. So like when you take your knife at home and you run it across the sharpening block, or you take your pocket knife and you sharpen it with a whetstone. The only way to sharpen it is with that contact it's being made. It's almost like a refining fire. Basically, the friction tears away the old, and when you sharpen something, once that old is torn away, you can now polish what's left and fix it and make it sharp again. Lastly, we see in verse 21, the seventh thing, don't be moved by flattery. And one of the best sayings that I got from this study was, stay humble or you will stumble. I know that's really cheesy, but it's true in 100% of every application that we put it in. So just remember that today when you're going around and you're talking to people. Just know that, as the saying always goes, you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. So really think about that. You want to build people up. You want people to know that they're worthy. You don't want anybody to feel like they're not worth anything, because people are created in God's image and they're worth more than you know. So, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that this really spoke to you like Proverbs 27 spoke to me. And if you know anybody in your circle that may need some help, or that may just be reaching out for something that they don't know what it is, just send them this video. Let them know that you're thinking about them, you're praying for them, and tell them that if there's anything that you can do for them, let them know. But in the meantime, get them into plug them into some things that have to do with the Word, and let God do that, the work that they're really looking for, that they don't know that they need. So if you don't know who I am just Jesse. This is my channel, and I do these videos every day to stay in the Word. I had an issue staying in the Word and praying every day, and I asked God to help me out, because everywhere I was turning, I was just getting let down with putting my hopes in the wrong thing. So God told me to stay in the Word and just make a video, even if it's for just me. It's to prove that I stayed there, that I finished the race today, and that I can do it again tomorrow too. So if things like this are stuff that you like to follow, if it's just something that you want to hear a good word every day, by all means, like and subscribe. Hit the bell in the top corner. I'll notify you when my new video comes out, and hopefully it'll speak to you just like God speaks to me through the Word. So, all right, guys, I hope that you have a great day. I hope that you're remaining safe, and that you're going and growing, and last of all, but not least, but the most, that God blesses you.